Hello there. Welcome to Team Fortress TV. This is fully charged. We're a little bit late, but we've got a cracking show for you before I-55. That's right, Insomnia 55 is in only 3 days. Can you feel the hype? I can feel the hype. I am so ready to see North America face off against Europe and see these cracking teams go head to head. But this is fully charged. This is episode 29, and we have a range of guests for you guys tonight. We're going to be discussing, of course, the Insomnia 55, essentially World Championships, the Intercontinental LAN in Coventry. Myself, Gecks, and Dashner are the kind of production part of the Fully Charged going on tonight. We're also joined by representatives from all of the top teams as well. We've got Banny, the pocket now for Froyotech. We've got Kaidus, the demo man from Reason, Hair P, a scout from TLR. We've got Zebbosai from Nerd Rage. I'm not even going to try and assign him a class. And we've got Kratos as well from dogs.tf. So I guess the first point of order, Gecks, is just a big old tussle to see whether we're going to win or you're going to win.
You know damn well NA is going to win, son. Is that even a question?
They've got the track record, you know. They've won 2 out of the previous 3 intercontinental lands, but I think that what that means is it's our time to shine again. You know, it's going to flip flop. We won I-49, we lost I-52. We're going to win I-55 back, but there's fierce competition. Oh, of course, as well. I forgot the fragile. How could I possibly do that? I really apologize. But we also have the medic, the fragile from Team Ascent as well. So the 2 North American teams, I think we'll flip it over to you guys first. How are you feeling coming into the event? We'll go to the fragile first because I feel really bad for leaving him out.
Going into it right now, we feel pretty okay. We've haven't been able to practice with our starting 6 as much as we'd like. I mean, we've still been practicing regardless. Like, we'll grab a ringer or we'll review demos or whatever. But there have been a few times where like Enigma's had like Highlander or someone had a real life obligation. But scrims leading up to to now have been starting out a little bit rough, and that was mostly when Enigma joined. But things have been looking a lot cleaner lately. So I don't know. I mean, we're still gonna have to deal with the jet lag on Friday, and that should be weird. But then I think on Saturday we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, the jet lag's always a big factor for the Americans as well. But just around the Enigma thing, just for anybody who hasn't been keeping up to date, hasn't seen the articles posted on TFTV, hasn't been reading the forums, etc., give us a rundown of the roster that you're going to be taking to I-55 and how that's slightly different to ESEA.
I mean, it's still, you know, me on medic, Rando on pocket, Mela on roamer, Badonsky on demo, and Shrugger on scout. And instead of Decimate going, because he was not able to go, being our other scout, we had Enigma fill in as the role of scout in place of Decimate. And it's really exciting because Enigma's been, you know, a proven scout for an extremely long time, and he's been working really well with us. For the first few days, it was kind of rocky, but lately it's really starting to piece together. So we're really excited about that.
And you said that you haven't quite been able to have as much practice as you would have liked to. How prepared do you feel going into it?
I mean, mostly prepared. I mean, I don't think we're necessarily like too underprepared or anything like that, but I think it's more of a thing of like, you know, we're prepared, but maybe we would have liked to work on a few more things, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, again, there were a few days where we didn't have all of our 6, so even then we still used those days to, you know, DM and MGE and even review a few demos of ourselves or of other teams or something like that, just to use all of our time to the best that we can.
Absolutely. And if we flip that over to Banny as well, who's had a few roster changes, but they're kind of mirrored along with ESEA. You made them towards the end. But for anybody who really has been hiding under a rock, could you give us a run through of the roster that you're going to be taking to LAN and give us a rundown of how you've been preparing?
Sure. The Froyotech roster going into I-55, it will be Shade on Medic, Duatna on Demo. It will be Blaze on Roamer, me on Pocket, and Ash and Clockwork on Scout. So the big change that we made at the end of last season was me going to Pocket. I was playing Scout for the last 2 years or whatever, and kind of a last minute change just to, I don't know, make the team a little bit more cohesive. I've always said that I'll play whatever role the team needs, so it ended up with me on Pocket this time. And our team, we've been practicing. I can echo a lot of the sentiments that Fragile said. We've been practicing with a few ringers here and there, trying to play with the 30-minute time limit. That's going to be the biggest thing for us to adapt to, I think. They play a couple different maps, maybe like Granary Pro. We just started practicing that too. And then we're not really looking forward to the traveling. I don't mind it personally, but I know like Duatna, he's not looking forward to it. He hates traveling. But we've done it before, most of us. We've all played ESEA lands and things like that, so it should be, once we get there and get settled, it should be a pretty good event for us, I hope.
You're looking forward to the Friday group stage as well, just to get yourselves attuned to the whole situation, shake off the traveling problems, and really get down to grips with the tournament.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad that we have that day to kind of figure things out and adjust. I feel like our team will probably start off a bit slow, but I think we'll just get better and better as the event goes on.
Yeah, the previous Froyotech at I-52, although you were almost exactly the same, did you drop 1 or 2 maps in the group stages and then just stormed through the brackets afterwards?
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was just, I don't know, adjusting to the format, getting a feel for the teams, things like that. That's the whole point of the group stage, I guess, for us, is just learning the other team's styles, maybe fixing a few last minute things, and then just getting comfortable. And yeah, we played better in the elimination stage. I think a lot of my teammates also just play well under pressure, so that environment like allowed us to thrive.
And the roster changes that you've made, how has that improved your team, or how has that changed it?
Well, the class switch for us, it is a bit different now. When I was on Scout, I was very like combo oriented. I think Ash on Scout is less so like that. He's a little bit quieter, but he has very strong DM, so he'll still be going for plays, and he's a smart player. But it'll be a little bit less combo Scout oriented, and I'm kind of just on Pocket. I don't know. I play like a roamer a lot of times, so kind of all over the place, and at times it might make us a little bit more unpredictable, but I also have like over the years developed a very better safe than sorry kind of approach to the game, so we might be kind of like really aggressive sometimes and then really passive other times. It'll be kind of weird. We're still kind of adjusting, but Shade and I have decent chemistry, him being my medic, and I think we'll do well. We've had decent results so far, and like it worked for ESEA. If we can just kind of recreate that playstyle for I-55, I think we'll do all right.
Do you think it opens up new weaknesses that you'll be able to exploit, Fragile or Zebbosai?
With Froyo's new roster?
Yeah.
I mean, we were used to how they were playing before, and now with the switch, we have to because we were used to Banny, playing like kind of like close to Shade, Pocket Scout sort of thing. And now that's not so much the case anymore, with Ash being on Scout and Ash not necessarily sticking so close to Shade as much as Banny did. I mean, we do have to adjust a little bit and try to play around that. I mean, honestly, regardless of who plays where on that team, they're still very threatening. They're still going to be a very good team. But I mean, we always have to watch out for their key playmakers, which are Clockwork and Blaze, because they can make anything go in their favor immediately with a very strong push or a very strong flank. So I'm not really saying that Blaze and I'm not really saying that Ash and Banny switching positions isn't really a big deal, because it does change it around a little bit, but I don't know. We still mostly approach it the same, and I don't know. To us, it's still the same strong roster that we're going against. So,
What do you think about that, Zebbosai? What do you think about the Americans? How are they going to match up to the European side of things, or how are you going to match up to them?
Well, I don't know how they were previously. I played them last year when they had Lansky, and he was probably the best player together with Clockwork, so that's obviously gonna hurt them. But I looked at STVs from the final between Ascent and Froyo, and it looks very messy. But as Benny says, it's probably very unpredictable too, so who knows when you play against it. I'll have to see, I guess.
How has your team been putting in the preparation? You mentioned just then that you've watched the STV of the ECA finals, but is that something you've been doing, really researching the teams and how they play, or have you just been trying to refine your own, or a bit of both?
Well, we watched the Gully and like half of Sunshine, so we didn't look that hard, but we are like taking it very seriously. Like last Friday, we went over strats for like 2-3 hours, and we've been playing every day. So yeah, we're keen for this.
And is it going to pay off in the end? You guys just keep getting beaten by Reason. How can you step up to the American plate if there's people in Europe beating you?
Well, we've only lost to Reason twice in an official. I guess we beat them once, but they had a bunch of mercs, so that doesn't really count. But I don't know, like you can't take too much away from PSWs because both teams are gonna save stuff and like play differently than they actually will at LAN. So we'll have to see, I guess.
What are your game plans at LAN then? Are you going to be pinning all your hopes on Flippy to decimate the enemy team?
I'm not gonna tell you here, am I?
No, you're not going to tell us. You're not going to give away information to the enemy. But how prepared do you feel then going into the event?
No, we're very prepared, as I said. Like we have gone over every map, like sorting our own stuff, and then a few counters here and there to certain teams. And like overall, from at least Europe, we're the most experienced team going to LAN. So I think, especially like a player like Rib, he really stepped up at LAN. So I think we'll get quite far.
The most experienced team at LAN? Are you going to stand for that, kaidus? You have the I-49 winning combo on your roster.
Yeah, but we have like 3 people that I don't think ever went to a LAN. I don't know, maybe Forsaken went to some Russian LAN or something. Excuse me, but seems kind of accurate, I guess. I think all of Nerd Rage. Oh my god!
Did I move to you at a wrong time there?
I got like spaghetti in my throat or something. I don't know, man.
Just pull it out. Pull it out.
Mate, come back to me. Go to heavy or something.
Go on then, P. How are TLR feeling going into this? You guys, I think it's fair to say, and we were discussing a little bit beforehand, me and Kratos, that I think public opinion of you guys has dipped a little bit. You were kind of looking like the dark horses of the event. You had the potential to upset people. You got a very explosive flank, or you had one. You've made some roster changes as well. First of all, let's talk about the roster changes, and then you can rebut my my accusals that you guys have slipped.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and take the shit talk to my face. But yeah, like our roster now is still kind of the same that this has been before. Like it's me and Nick on Scout. I'm pocketing with Serotonin on Medic. And now instead of Heis, who's out for a shoulder injury, and Shadowburn, who's out for like nationality-related injuries, we have we have War and Alpha East Coast. I forgot the names, but so we're like the first international team going to LAN, which is kind of a lie because Alpha is really from Romania or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, can you really claim that? No, you are. You are the first real intercontinental team though, because Alpha's having to play with 100 ping whenever he's playing with you. What kind of preparation have you been able to do, given the time zone difference, given the fact that he has 100 ping whenever he's going to be playing with you guys? What's it been like preparing for this LAN?
Well, it's been kind of shit like between us because it's basically it's hard to time and it's hard to practice. So we only have been able to like play with a full August on weekends, which is still, I think, like compared to I think we've gotten in as many games with our full August as the other teams, despite not having anyone going off on a vacation. But yeah, so it's been hurting a bit, and it's been like you have people on vacation, kaidus?
How is that in any way accurate? We've been playing together for like 3 months. Like in the last
but
week.
I mean like last month, like the preparation for LAN.
That's
do you think you're
Anyway.
as
Like
practiced as the other top teams then? Do you think you're as
Yeah, I
practiced
feel-
as
I feel
recent,
like-
as honed?
It's gonna be a bit. It's always gonna be like a bit puggy going into it with like recent roster changes and stuff like that. But like we're working hard to get it together to like a cohesive front, and in the end, like you show up at LAN and everything changes from games, like from practice games, so it's gonna be okay, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Bunny was quoted in an article right at the beginning as saying they're going to be facing the next European pug team, and I mean, TLR have made tons of roster changes recently. Reason changed their roster halfway through the last season. I think Nerd Rage, do you have the most stable roster for the longest time in Europe at the moment, or is it Dogs? Are Dogs the ones to worry about?
No, Dogs have changed QNX.
Oh yeah, of course
Formation.
they changed their pocket.
From
Right?
the
We've
main
only
season.
changed classes, so
Oh yeah,
we're
Yeah.
stable.
you rotate your classes all the time, but that's just a classic Zebbosai play there, just changing the classes halfway through the LAN. He'll end up playing medic or something. Who the hell knows? But yeah, we'll take it to Kratos then. The dogs.tf, the people's champions. How are you guys feeling? What are you gonna get up to at LAN?
Well, our preparations weren't that great, to be honest, but well, yeah, the thing is that if we are concentrated and if we are playing as a team, then I guess we can have very good games. Like, the thing is, people don't really know how we are playing and won't say, like, oh, they are going aggressive in these situations and all those stuff. Like, people were scrimming us in the last 1 or 2 months then after the season ended, but we usually was playing with at least one merc, and it was usually like Scrap or Sheepy thing. And I don't know, our team is really scout related, so whenever we have a scout merc we play worse, or whenever we have a demo merc, obviously like Spot is a very strong strong part in our team, then we will play worse with a merc. So people might underrate us, but that's our advantage, I guess. If we play with a full roster and if we're focused and play remember our tactics and all that stuff, then I guess we can do very well.
We were talking at the beginning about your aspirations. What does doing well for you guys mean? Does that mean knocking somebody out? Does that mean just making it to the 6th place spot in the brackets?
Well, we won't. I guess I'm not quite sure actually. Like, you have 8 teams in the invites, right? And then
No, it's
on the first.
Well,
6.
Dashner can clarify there because he's the production wizard, the king of I-55. But it's 6 teams in the invite group, as far as I believe.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, well, we won't try and like play 6th. Then we will try to knock somebody out, obviously.
Who's your target? Who are you aiming for? Who's in the
well,
sights of Dogs.tf?
Well, it's just a 3 days cup pretty much, so we can beat whoever. Like, whoever gets like have a bad day or something, we can win. We can like get some lucky rounds or whatever, or we can play well and beat them with some tactics they won't expect or something like that. But it's just like a 3 days cup, so we only have to win once against the team, and then we will go further in this tournament. So we'll just try to beat as many teams as we can and try to go as far as we can. Yeah, I'm not saying
You're not going to
we will-
name any names. You're not going to call
No.
a team out as being the prey to the dogs.
Well, I mean, we did
The
play
dog
TLR
food.
in this season, but and Reason and all these teams, but they all changed their rosters pretty much after we played them. We had a close game in TLR in the week 1, but then we were still like a pretty new team. We just practiced like 2 weeks or something, and then we had a close game against TLR. We beat Reason with their old roster, and we had Nerdwitch is usually raping us, to be honest. I'm a bit afraid of them, but other than that, we will just see what's happening. We will try to beat TLR, obviously, and we will try to
Obviously.
beat Reason as well.
Obviously, happy.
Yeah.
Well, good
That's
luck.
the revenge, P. You've always been rude to me. You destroyed my dreams so many times.
I've only folded 4 or 5 of your teams. I don't know
Yeah.
what you're mad about.
So it's really a grudge match between you guys as well. We're gonna be you're gonna be squaring up against each other at LAN. So there's something interesting out of what you said though in regards to Kaidus' team, because you said you have close games against them, and I think that a lot of teams have quite close games against Reason. Is that a Reason seem to always win, but they always seem to be closer than quite a lot of other games. Do you think that's a fair observation, Kaidus? Is it maybe a slower playstyle which is leading to you guys having tighter games but still being in control?
What are you basing that on? Are we talking like PCWs or like what?
No, games at the end. Well,
all I remember is raping everyone and having one close game with Nerd Rage, so I don't really agree. But I guess in PCWs we do.
Yeah, that's more what I'm basing it off. As we get closer and closer to LAN, I'm looking more at them as a judge of how teams are going rather than officials, which happened.
Because your cup was a complete and utter disaster.
Absolutely.
And we could base nothing from it.
Absolutely.
I guess in scrims we kind of go closer. Because I guess, I don't know. It's like a combination of a couple of things, I guess, but I guess we're like... Nox has like a way of calling that's a bit different in matches. Like in like a scrim, we'll do something good, we'll gain an advantage, and then we'll just kind of roll with it and kind of do random shit. And then in a match, if we had that same situation, Nox would take like complete control of that situation and see it through to the end. Whereas he'll just start laughing at something funny in a scrim or whatever. So it tends to be a bit more like that. Yeah, I guess we play it a bit slower. So it's like, I don't know. We don't just like roll over teams, you know, like if Nerd Rage are winning, they're just going to roll over you. But like if we're winning, it might take us 29 minutes, you know, to 5-0 like a team or something.
Do you think that's an advantage in a close, tense situation on LAN where you're staying in control, you're not allowing momentum to really be a part of the game, or do you think that's going to allow other teams to get back into it if you're not really slamming the rounds against them again and again?
I mean, not really. There's still momentum, but like momentum doesn't really exist in PCWs. Like you do in PCW, like every round is just its own thing. You play a round and it's like, okay, what do we do wrong? Let's try and fix that mistake. Just take every round like completely separate. Like you don't really care if you're winning or losing. Whereas in a match, if you're winning, it's like it doesn't matter how you're winning. If you're beating the other team, then it's in their head that they're losing. You know, that's how momentum comes into it. But we still have momentum. Like if you can watch some of our matches, like there's clear like momentum where we went from this slow style and we just turned it up and rolled over someone. But, like that's not like our default, I guess.
And how is Flippy fitting into the team? Because the last real...
I don't think we have Flippy on our roster.
Oh, sorry, what am I talking about? Forsaken is who I'm on about. They're the same people in my head. They're godly on Sniper. But, yeah, how is Forsaken fitting into the team? You guys were playing with Shocky in the ETF2L finals and destroyed everybody, but how's Forsaken fitting in there?
Yeah, it's great. It took a couple of weeks, really. Like, it was a bit like hit and miss at the start. We weren't really gelling that great, to be honest, in the first week or so. I mean, it was super nice having like a 6 sniper because like we're playing half our scrims against Nerd Rage and normally we just get dicked on, but now we have just a direct answer rather than having to like fiddle around and do all that crap you have to do when you play against a sniper. But now it's going like really, really well. Like it's really nice playing with him. But yeah, it's great. Like he's different to Shocky. He's not like the same type of scout, but he does things that Shocky doesn't do, and the sniping is just like great. It's just like an extra thing that we never had before. Like historically, Reason have just been like a dog shit Viaduct team. We just haven't been able to play Viaduct, and even though we're much better at it in general now, just being able to crack out a sniper is like it's just like another thing we can do. So it's like really nice to have that extra thing.
Banny and Fragile, when we talk to the European teams, they kind of there's a general consensus that having the sniper is kind of quite a big advantage over your two teams. How do you feel about the sniper situation? Do you have somebody who can counter snipe? Have you been preparing against that? Do you even think it's a factor?
I never said that, by the way.
No, I'm mainly thinking about Nerd Rage here. They're banking on their sniper.
Well, Clockwork is a godlike sniper, so I'm not too worried about that if we have to run a counter sniper. But I was kind of surprised at the amount of sniping that I did see in like the European matches that I've watched lately. That's probably going to be another one of the big things that we'll have to just adjust to or play around. But I don't know. I don't see myself playing that style personally.
Playing the counter sniper style or playing
playing like full-time sniper kind of stuff.
So then, are you then prepared to counter it in the same way that you would approach maybe a team like IM who had Sheep on sniper for the last LAN?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, generally the plan is just if they have a sniper, turn that into a weakness rather than a strength, you know. So
and are you as confident as Banny going up against these snipers, Fragile?
Yeah, I mean, exactly how Benny said it. Just them running sniper, just turn that into a weakness. instead of a strength and just play around it. And I mean, we'll certainly act to it quickly. But like, I don't know. We aren't. I mean, doing random stuff like that, like as you can see Alpha doing it, sometimes he'll just do it randomly, even in situations that don't really make sense, and he'll get good things out of it. But generally, I mean, it can certainly be a big weakness, and I don't know. I mean, we've seen enough of Alpha, and we've played enough with Alpha to hopefully, contain that and not make it a really big issue.
Yeah, you're worried about that, P. You're playing with You're playing with the enemy here. You go up against the Scent. He's going to deliberately throw the game.
Wait, no, I don't think. I think like talking to Alpha, it sounds like it's more of a grudge game than playing his friends here. Or maybe I just ruined friendship here. I don't know. I'm just making things up.
Yeah, maybe. Alpha's going to bring his A game then.
Yeah, and he's not going to have to play on like 120 ping, which is probably going to help him a bit.
Alpha will play just fine, in my opinion.
Yeah, he probably do all right.
Alpha gets a lot of shtick from the community, but do you rate him fairly highly then, P and Fragile?
I rated him lower before I played with him, and I think that I accidentally started a witch against him once, which I had to apologize for. And to be honest, like I've had to apologize to every single person we picked up so far for insulting them online before, so that wasn't really new to me. But
maybe
like
you need to check yourself, P.
Yeah, and before I wreck myself. But no, I think like he's been really impressed on Sniper, and especially like the last couple of days we've been playing like really well on the flank together too, which is just gonna get better when he can actually rocket jump without having a delay on it and shit like that.
I think Dashner has some juicy news to tell us as well. Oh, except his microphone isn't working.
Yeah.
What's going on with his microphone? There
Hello?
we go. Hello.
Okay, the group schedule just got released.
Group schedule released.
For this will be the Friday, the invite games. I'm just getting it up now. So it looks like our broadcast schedule for tomorrow is going to be, for Friday is going to be Reason versus Froyatech is going to be the first game. Ascent versus Froyatech is going to be the second game. Nerd Rage versus Froyatech is going to be the third. Nerd Rage versus Reason the fourth, and Ascent versus Reason is going to be the fifth, likely. So the group stage is out.
Yeah. So those fixtures. Have we given the link to the people? I'm gonna just put it in the Skype for anybody who's in there. Has it been pasted in Mumble as well, or do we have that information for the players to give their opinions on it? There we go. Dashner's just posted it in. But starting,
it's a hell of a way to start it off.
It really is.
And that Reason and Froyatech.
Yeah, that's going to be an absolute bang to start the proceedings off. Reason Gaming versus Froyatech. Let's talk about that fixture then, Gecks. How's that going to go down? What are the big things at play there?
Oh, for me, well, first off, I'm gonna say I'd like to see Reason come out and pull out an early. Actually, no, I want to see Froyatech come out first and win, and then later on Reason can beat him later on or something. I gotta go against Froyatech here. Nothing against Vanny personally, or anybody over on that team. It's just we like to see some upsets, because obviously you guys are the favorites coming in, but I think regardless it's an awesome way to start it off. Well, okay.
Oh, Dashner disagrees.
I still think they're the favorites coming in.
I think you have to give them the number one seed, given that they are the world champions at the moment. But they've made a few changes to the roster. Reason are looking fairly good. What are your opinions, Dash?
I've been feeling Reason for a few months now.
Is it the
entire thing?
The Nox and Mike combo or combination? They're not a combo anymore. But what is it? Is it that beautiful partnership? You believe it can win this time?
I think Mike really wants it. Just hearing the interviews you conducted with them, I think Mike really wants it this time. I think they're going to come out on top.
On the same note, though, I still think everybody that's going that has a decent shot at it wants it, though. I don't think... Mike wants it. I'm sure he does. I'm sure the whole team does. But I at the same time, I think, anybody on Ascent or anybody on Froyatech wants it pretty bad, too. I mean, it's a pretty big, prestigious title.
I think it's more personal for him.
Yeah, maybe they've got a bit of the revenge factor, perhaps. Mike's nose has been rubbed in the dirt last year with his the I-52 team. Kaidus, from talking to those guys as well, how do you think the people who played at I-52 in that Epsilon team are viewing this team and their chances, the difference between them?
What you mean?
With Mike and Nox, who played in I-52
Yeah.
for that team with that Epsilon roster, how do you think they are viewing the difference between going into it last year and going into it this year? Have you picked up on anything? Do they seem more confident?
Kind of hard to say, really. Like, we just kind of like we don't really think about like teams specifically and like how it matches up and all that. We just kind of think about how we're playing and what we need to improve on and like that. I mean, Mike's clearly like fired up. He really wants to win, and I'm sure Nox does as well. But like, it's not really something we talk about. We don't really talk about the other teams that much. We just talk about like ourselves.
So nothing there. Banny, are you more or less convinced by Reason Gaming compared to I-52? Is it going to be more of a challenge, or is it going to be even easier?
Should be, I don't know, roughly the same. I mean, every team is always going to be very good on LAN, and we've played against all like these amazing teams over the years, like Mix Up or Immunity or Epsilon or whatever. So, I mean, I don't really think at this point any team is going to blow our minds or whatever, and I don't think we are going to do that to them either. But I think, we just treat them as all really good teams. I don't know. That's pretty much it.
And the maps as well, of course, have been released.
Lack of Badlands in the group stage.
Yeah, and
Oh wow.
CP Gullywash Final 3 being released. I think that's just someone dragging down on the Excel page, I think, has managed to create that. It thinks it's part of a list of them. But yeah, interesting. Does anything stand out to you there in terms of teams going up against each other on certain maps? I think I can see one that really Nerd Rage get to play against Froyotech on Viaduct. I think that is a big one. But yeah, I'm not too sure on how each team's viewing each maps, or whether they even want to give anything away about their map preferences at this point. But anything stand out to anybody?
Like, nothing specific stands out to me about the matchups on the maps. Still think it's really dumb that we're playing random maps. I mean, I know it's groups and it doesn't really matter. It just seems completely like, I don't know. Weird.
You want map elimination all the way.
Yeah, it's totally weird to play like random maps on a LAN.
At least we know in advance now, though.
Yeah,
We
it's
could, like prepare.
Yeah, it's better than usual where you find out like half an hour before. But I don't know. It's kind of always strikes me as odd when it's like random maps. It doesn't really make sense because it's a game of maps. Like, that's why you play best of 3, because teams have maps that they're strong on and shit. And if you can't play best of 3, you should at least be able to, eliminate maps or whatever.
Are the rest of you guys against the random map thing, like Banny or Fragile or anybody, or are you guys okay with this random map thing through the group stage?
I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, same here.
I don't really mind it, especially that it's only mostly just for seeds. I mean, and not mostly, it is just for seeds, really. I mean, I don't really find it too much of an issue. I would find it to be an issue if it was in elimination and there
It
was
is as well for the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, but is there like map throwing?
No, like
can
the
you
first couple of
eliminate
rounds
maps?
is just Badlands, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's just Badlands, like no elimination, best of 1
How,
Badlands.
how does it work then when there is a best of 3? Like, how do you
When
pick
when
maps?
you get to the
Just-
best of 3s in the main games, it is like map vetoes. Like, you ban, each team bans, then each team picks, then each team bans, and you're left with the decider. But there's a couple, like some of the earlier games, like where there's like a lower bracket best of 3 that isn't map elimination. It's just set maps, I think. I think it's because of time, because there's like a lot more teams left in it in the early rounds, so it would take the admins, because we don't have like a bot like in CS or whatever to do it. It would take the admins like a long time to do it all, so it's like for pragmatic reasons, which makes sense. It's just a shame, I think. Like I totally get why it's like it is. It's just a shame.
Is this just Reason talking from the perspective of having a very shallow map pool? You guys.
No, this isn't Reason talking. This is just
This is
me
just
being
Jason.
a whiny bitch about like things like this. It's like nothing to do with my team or how we play. I would say the same if I was like a spectator or something. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of like CS:GO over the last year, and watching like how like a real, like professional FPS esport is doing things, and it just seems kind of really strange after that.
And yeah, as you said, no Badlands in the group stages as well. Is that a good thing? Spicing things up, throwing in some Granary Pro, some Viaduct in there as well. Do you think any of the teams have maps that they are weaker on?
Yeah, I think pretty much all of them do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are they known to the other teams? Can people really make use of the map system at the beginning to try and score some fixtures that they wouldn't have got otherwise?
Well, maybe not like Europeans playing the Americans and vice versa, because we've never matched up against them before. But like, I'm sure Ascent and Phototech know each other's like playstyle and how they match up on different maps. The same as like us, Nerd Rage, Ascent, TLR, and to Dogs to a lesser extent, Dogs do. Like we're better on certain maps against certain teams and worse, things like that. But yeah, I guess it doesn't translate so much with the international games.
When are Ascent playing against Froyotech? I can't actually. Oh, there it is.
On Gully Wash.
On Gully Wash as well. So it's been played a few times before. But what the Fragile, after your spanking in the ESEA finals, where even though you managed to make it through to the upper bracket final, you then lost 4 games in a row, 2 best-of-3s in a row. What are you trying to do to get back on track and steal the defending champions title away from them?
It's I don't know. I mean, they're a very good team, and I don't know, when we're on our game, we can certainly always give them the run for our money or just flat out beat them. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because it's some maps. There are times where we're really good on some maps and we just suck on other ones, and then like 2 weeks later we could just be, I don't know. We're really spotty with our maps sometimes, but I don't know. I mean, we're I don't know. We both have a lot of respect for each other in terms of knowing that we're both good teams. So like, yeah, we did beat them in upper finals, and we did make it extremely ridiculously close in the first set, and then we did get fucking rolled in the second set. But like, I don't know. I think we can, we can certainly still beat them in any environment.
Fragile, where do you see Froyotech placing in the tournament?
At worst, top 2.
So you're pegging them to get in the finals no matter what. I guess you're putting yourself in there as well.
Well, if we are on our game totally, which I mean, it's kind of a cheap answer because you could really say this about any team, but like if we are like completely on our game, then like I have like a ton of confidence that we'll get in the finals as well. If we're like kind of shaken up and just not gaining any momentum or just not really having any clean fights or clean mids or something like that, I don't know, then we might not. But like, I mean, I don't know. I think with the spotty practice that we've had as of late, it puts a slight question mark on it. But like, I don't know. I think we're gonna get there and we're gonna settle in and hopefully get used to the jet lag. And I can very well see us in the finals. But as far as the Froyotech question, let me put it this way: I would be surprised if Froyotech didn't get into the finals.
And what about you, Bunny? Where do you see Ascent coming? And do you agree with his? I assume that you agree with his assessment of your team as at least making it into the finals.
Well, we're certainly aiming for the finals. I think we can make it there. Yeah. I could see Ascent making it too. I think if they just don't like have an emotional breakdown, they have a good chance. But I'd probably see them top 3.
And who else are you putting in there? I guess one of the European teams, but who do you put at the top of the barrel?
I guess just by default it'd be Reason. They are the best European team right now. They won the last season, so they get it.
Are you going to stand for that, Zebbosai?
Well, I don't know. The Reason are probably better than like us, at least on the paper. But I don't think Ascent will make it even close to top 3. I'm sorry.
Oh, where are you pegging these guys then, Zebbosai? What's going to happen to poor old Ascent?
I think, like, I wouldn't even surprise me if Dogs took them, but like top 5 around there, and that's like bottom 5 then.
Why do you think that Dogs are going to beat Ascent? I think that's quite a well. Although that might be the popular opinion, I think that's it's not a widely held serious one. Apologies to Kratos. I mean, you have a believer here in Zebbosai, but why do you think? How have Ascent done so well against Freyotech if you then see them losing to Dogs?
I don't know. Like, I looked at STV, and like I've played them too, and it doesn't look like they have much idea what they're doing. And apart from like Bedonsky and Rando, they don't really have any firepower either. Like, if I match them with the Dogs players, I think it even comes out even.
What, in terms of individual talent?
Yeah, like their scouts, I'd put even. Like
the scouts.
Ascent has a better pocket,
really?
But Spud could probably beat Bedonsky.
You would put Sheepy and Scrab on the same level as Shrugger and Enigma.
Well, I don't know. I have faith in Dogs.
I think you're clinically insane. I think
he's trolling.
I don't think he is. That's the thing. I really don't think he is. Kratos, do you believe in yourself as much as Zebbosai believes in you?
I do. I like, to be honest, Scrap and Sheepy are insane, and people are like underrating them a lot. But we will see on that.
I think they're good. I'm taking nothing away from them.
I think they're incredible, to be honest. Like, I guess they can easily play in one of the European top teams and like be better than like not giving any names. But I guess they could play instead of some people in the European top teams right now.
Now, I'd like to know how the Fragile feels about that call.
Yeah.
On the Dogs thing. What do you have to say about that? Because that's a pretty bold statement, I think.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, when we would watch some of the European demos, we kind of felt the same way in a lot of ways about how they would do certain things, and we would look at it and go, oh, like, that, why would they do that? That doesn't make sense. As in, like, we just sat there and couldn't understand, not because it was a good play, but just because it didn't make sense. It was basically alpha, so maybe it's a whole, I don't know, because, you know, Alpha's from Europe and he plays like fucking random, so maybe that's just all of them. I don't fucking know. But no, we feel the same way, as in, like, we would look at some of the STVs and go, they're very disorganized here. They don't really make sense here. Stuff like that. I mean, there's obviously parts where it does make sense and it's all set play and everything like that. But I mean, to say the feeling is not mutual in certain regards would be me lying. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that certain European teams are, you know, of like IM teams or something like that. But
I would have loved it. If you'd said that. But
get away with
drama
fan
is what
club
we
above
need,
all
guys.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
need the drama.
Yeah, but do you think that's then a difference in playstyles, Kaidus? Is that just people looking and thinking they're seeing a difference in playstyle or whatever? Some areas in which North America takes it more messy, and some areas in which Europe takes it more messy, where the other one would have aimed for a more structural approach, or do you agree with Zebbosai, or do you agree with Fragile?
Honestly, I think unless a team is completely dicking over another team, watch like an STV demo of any team in TF2, there will be parts that look messy as fuck. Like, that's just how the game looks, like, without comms to kind of fill in the blanks. Parts of TF2, like, shit just happens, man. You just have to roll with it and react. And on different days, different teams do it better. It's only when you're just crushing someone is it really clean. It's just not that kind of game, I think. I don't know really, though. Like, it's like this. It's the same both ways. Like, if we watch American games, we're like, wow, that's messy as balls. But we're looking at it like as first timers, or looking with a completely different perspective. Like, if you're watching European teams, it's like you're watching players you know really intimately. So you're kind of filling in those blanks yourself. And I'm sure, like, when Americans watch European games, it's probably the same thing. Like, you don't know the players and their tendencies that well, So it looks like completely random, and it makes no sense. I think it goes both ways. It's just a
Yeah, I would
matter of
agree with that.
perspective.
Yeah.
Where then do you see, if we can drag some real talk out of you as well, where do you see the American teams placing?
Like, I don't know really. Like, Biotech, you kind of have to say and like between first and third, I really can't see them finishing below third, and they could easily finish first. But we don't really know anything more than that. Like, I wouldn't have Ascent in my top 3, but like, again, like, what is my opinion really worth on that? I've never played against them. Like, I would have Ascent finishing like Ascent and TLR competing for 4th, us Node Rage and Froyo competing top 3, and Dogs like barring like a crazy upset, Dogs just below the rest. But like, again, like, my opinion is not really worth that much. I haven't played the American teams.
And how are you guys feeling, TLR?
Oh shit. Yeah, hey.
Hello.
Not easy victory really. I don't know, it's like we're going into we went from being Seb was telling me to BM people. But now he's calling me a pussy. We went from being kind of like at least kind of highly rated, I felt like, to then just, you know, the roster changes and stuff, and the kind of dreadful final putting us down to people just going like, oh, they need to upset suddenly when we've like been evenly placed with these teams for a long time. So we're there to, what the hell just happened to Dashner's cam? I'm sorry, I just got distracted. We're obviously there to like dispel that notion about us, but I don't know. I think like this, you could say like the same that kaidus says and be rational, but honestly I just think that Dogs will take the whole thing, that everybody else is just shit.
Absolutely. Do you think there is, Zebo, kaidus, Kratos, particularly because you played against them, do you think there is this story of TLR slipping from their place where they were doing well against the teams during the season? Are they beginning a slow decline to then choke at LAN and dribble their way out in 8th place below Saints and the Enigma Zone crew?
Well, we will never lose against Saints. I mean, that's my bold statement. I saw they took one round in the GGG Cup. I'm not gonna lose to that shit.
I think like the way P just described it just there pretty much sums it up for you. Like, because 2 months ago, TLR were talking about, yeah, we're going to win LAN. Like, definitely they were going to win. And now Happy's description of their intentions was, we're going to show people we're not shit. So like, that's like a complete like difference to how it was a few months ago. So I think that sums it up for me.
Have they lost that motivational edge? They're an emotional team, Zebo.
Yeah, they lost totally key, like, I'm not even shit talking here. They lost two totally key players and replaced them like not the ideal replacements. Like, Alpha and Warren are bad players, but I don't think they were really the players they needed. They just had to make do with what they could get.
I think like War was our first choice for demo, and it would still be. And that Alpha was like our second choice for Roamer, with like the first backing out.
I don't know. I guess
that's not to talk like badly about Alpha, but it's just like we were kind of searching at home to start with.
Yeah,
but it's like
you try and search in your own content.
But it doesn't really say much to say that he was your second choice, because if it wasn't Alpha, you'd be literally going to like Division 1, because there is no one. But you kind of had, I don't know, it seems to me you kind of had what you had, and there wasn't really any choices available. I don't know.
You had spoken as if you kind of thought there was somebody better than them.
No,
you said it wasn't like their first choice. I mean, who would you have thought they would have picked up instead of Alpha and War?
I don't think they made the wrong decisions. I just think, like, when Hiss left, they lost the fucking brain behind that team. Like, the absolute heart and soul of the team, like, the driving force making everyone play together, is just gone. And, like, who is there that can replace that? There's not the personnel, especially with, like, you know, you got to get them booked for LAN within a week or whatever it was, however much time you had.
But
there just literally wasn't time to do that, and it's unfortunate, but that's kind of the way it is.
That's like saying that you losing, no offense to his, but that's like saying that you losing Skeege is kind of losing the driving force between
these. That's literally not even the same thing.
No.
That's literally not. He was the team leader and your main caller.
Yeah, they lost Skeege.
Like, how is that the same? That's literally not even vaguely comparable.
It's an outside perspective. Like we went with like one voice
bullshit.
for another. Well,
you're
complete bullshit then.
What are you talking about? Doesn't make any sense.
I'm trying to say that it's an outside perspective that, like, for me, actually playing in the team doesn't
Am I wrong? Was his not your team leader and main caller? 'Cause,
Yeah, but that doesn't
like
mean
that's
that
what
we
I was
didn't.
saying. Like you lost your main caller and you replaced him with someone that can't really main call to the same level. That was all I meant.
Who are the
Yeah,
brains in your team now, Happy? Who's calling the shots? Who's leading the team?
We didn't have any brains before, but we. Oh no! I've been told to not disclose this information. I think. by
What, not
people
disclose
overseeing.
who's calling in your
Yeah,
team?
yeah. We're gonna surprise
Is there
people.
a
It's actually
strategy
me.
behind that?
You're worried
No, not
about
really.
the player's voice box being deliberately crippled by somebody else at LAN, or
Yeah, Kid is just gonna like, I don't know,
it's going to
stuff
force him to shout?
force him to like eat a joint or something. Just to destroy us.
But P, would you pick
man.
highs above, like war above highs? Like I rate highs really high, to be honest. Like he's
I
a
would
strong
say
main caller, micromanager, but war's obviously probably a bit better with DM. But do you think like war is better for your team, or do you think highs is better for that team?
I think it's Heist is better for one team and War is better for another team. And like
Oh, but
we
I mean
have-
for your team,
I
for
think-
Yeah, yeah.
TLR, as it
for
is
the
right
cure
now.
for the current team, like War is a good fit. I
But
would
one
say.
team was better than the other team.
Nah, I would say that you can't say that without like screaming two teams against each other. Like on,
Screaming.
like,
Like watching
at
your
the-
matches against like. I'm
at
not
the
gonna say
same
actually.
time,
No spoilers.
when we were playing with his, like that's like the grand final and stuff like that.
Huh?
Like we played with his, we had like the disastrous grand final and stuff like that. That's not to call him out or anything, but like we were weak back then at certain days too, and like if I think you're gonna spoil like a game from this Sunday that was played.
No,
Where we
I wasn't
played
referring to
pretty
that. I was going for something else. But
Oh, okay.
anyway, that
Like-
was just my perspective. I didn't really.
We had good and bad days with we had good and bad days with his, and we have good and bad days with War. That's just like how a team works.
It's the pug teams galore in Europe, Bunny. They're back. They're switching all their players around and debating who's the best. I'm sure you're not even slightly worried. You're looking at this with a look of disgust on your face, shaking your head. Goodness me, they should have brought in 6 Americans to swap out their roster. But
TLR had the right idea.
yeah, just slowly phase in the Americans and Canadians. But yeah, for the for I-55 and how these teams are going up against each other, we've got some cracking games, and given the group stages as well, Gecks, I think it's going to be fantastic games on the Friday as well. The group stages are almost some of my favourite parts of the event, because you get to see the every matchup against each other and how they all are playing it together on different maps. It's
Yeah.
a great beginning to the event.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, like we all said, really, Reason and Freddy Tech first, a great way to start it off. I really like those group stages too, because you get to see, how these teams start off to their event, how they adjust, I guess, to playing on the LAN as well, especially for the NA teams adjusting to jet lag, and it's cool to see it progress through the group stage and then past the group stage, how much better the teams can get over time, or whatever. I don't know. It's group stages are definitely one of my favorite parts to watch. I mean, obviously you can't beat the knockouts, but it's good to see how these teams start their event off and how they progress throughout it, and exactly what they're all bringing to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as we move further on towards the knockout stages of the tournament, dashner, seeing as you're arranging it all and doing the production side of things, why don't you tell us how the tournament's going to flow and what people can expect?
I mean, what specifically? We're going to put on a really good show. One thing I do want to go into is that something that hasn't been announced. Sweepstakes.tf just put out a $1,500 sponsorship for our production. So this is going to be probably the highest budget stream that TF2 has ever seen.
That's
we're
awesome
pulling
from
out
those guys.
we're pulling out all the stops for this. I just finished some camera rentals that we just arranged through beta. Back them, and we have a lot of high budget equipment. There's a lot of equipment coming in, so it's gonna be unreal. Like DXL, was a huge failure, but I'm trying to redeem myself here.
Yeah, and Dashner's put in a ton of work as well, hasn't he, Gecks? He's been doing just a crazy amount of organizational work, and he'll be doing all the managing the production at the event as well. So then, as we go through the knockouts and into kind of the final stages, you've got some plans for an analysis desk as well, and the two stream setup. What have you got? What have you got planned for the viewers?
Dashner?
Gecks?
I think we lost.
Oh,
it.
is that me? Was
No,
that me or
sorry,
Dashner? I thought it was Dashner.
That was aimed at Dashner, but
Yeah, we're trying to do we're gonna run 2 streams for most of the event. But at the tail end of day 2, we're gonna try to do an analyst desk for the lower finals, and then day 3 for the grand finals and the constellation final. We're gonna try to run a 4-man, 2-caster, 2 analyst desk.
and I think that's a fantastic idea. We've got a great caster list that that people can see as well. We've got myself, Gecks, Arx and Beta, the fantastic duo from centuries past, Commander X, Samsky, Molesto, Ryushi, Turbo Tabs, and Mana. Maybe if Dashner releases him from his leash behind the production.
We're gonna have to on Friday. We're kind of low on casters on Friday, so
so Mana's forced out of his cave at the back where he's doing production onto the into the spotlight, and then the rest of the production staff as well, who are all doing a fantastic job behind the scenes. Greg working with us as well, big Greg from Infused fame, helping things out along with Aaron, who came down, David the Wind and Sim, Blue, Ari, Wolf Machina, Tag, Uberchain as well behind the scenes, and Bones and Suyo. They're all doing an excellent job producing the thing. So big shout out to those guys working.
yeah, it's really ridiculous how big this production is. Like, it's definitely the biggest that TF2 has ever seen. Like, people coming from North America and Europe coming together.
Yeah, you have a lot of good talent, really, and I think there's a lot of people that don't understand how much work that people like Dashner, Uberchain, all these guys that are involved with the production, how much time they put into this. I know Dashner's sleeping schedule is like all sorts of fucked up, like just from trying to get this thing ready to go, and guys like me, I know Sideshow probably puts in work too. I probably put the least amount in, and I don't see as much credit sometimes given to guys like them. So I really think, you guys got to tip your hats to people like Dashner and Uberchain, the rest of the production staff, because those guys just put in ridiculous amounts of hours to make this whole thing happen.
Especially Uberchain, because you don't really notice the work she does, but like, she's been tirelessly working on the intro and outro videos for I-55 in particular, and animate and source filmmaker animation is not easy work. But she's just been working easily probably 14 hours a day to get this done.
And the fantastic team skins as well that she just posted, the outfits, the jerseys, that's what they're called, for the teams. They look fantastic. The posters are on Twitter. Find the Team Fortress TV Twitter and have a look at those, because they're just fantastic guys. And hopefully, maybe we'll be managing to get some either analyst or casting talent from some of the top players as well if they get knocked out. If Dogs have a surprise upset of Reason Gaming early on in the competition, we can see Kaidus or somebody on the casting desk. But
see me at the bottom of a fucking ditch that I've thrown myself in.
The bottle of a keg of beer where you just drowned your sorrows away. But the Fragile has to run away now as well, so we'll wrap up things here with our representative from Ascent. But just before you go, Fragile, give me your top 1 to 6 of how things are going to go down. Go on, I'm pushing you. Give me it, rattle it off. 1 to 6.
Okay. Man, I don't want to answer this.
Go on, Fragile. Do it.
Okay, I'm just gonna randomize it. So, no, I'm kidding. All right. So, first, Froyo. Okay, I'll be honest. Okay, probably second, Reason, third, Us, fourth, Nerd Rage, fifth, TLR, sixth, Dogs. But that is like, I don't know. That's what's obviously that's all with a grain of salt, because like if any of those teams play so well or any of those teams falter, then you can bump each one up 1 or 2 spots,
yeah.
or one down 1 or 2 spots, and make total sense. That's really loose. I hate even saying that, because you could ask me 5 minutes from now and I could put us in first, or I could put us in fourth. I don't know. It's really hard. All these teams are going to be so good.
Yeah, I think I completely understand where you're coming from. It is a LAN environment at the end of the day. Anything can happen at LAN. It'll all come down just to who shows up on the day, and I think Ascent have got a decent chance of it, no matter what Zebbosai thinks. Thanks for joining us, Fragile, and we'll see you guys in just a few days.
Yep.
And I'm always so surprised how close it is. It snuck up on me. It snuck up on me, Gecks. It's almost there.
I know,
We're
man.
leaving tomorrow.
The excitement is building. Is that what's happening for you guys in America? Are you leaving within
we're
24
flying out
hours or
tomorrow
so? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I leave at like 10:30 Eastern tomorrow or something like that. So, yeah, I'll be out tomorrow night, man. It's gonna be a long, grueling travel, but luckily once I can get into Dublin, I'll be able to have some drinks and relax a little bit after the long flight. So,
And then get on board your 30-year-old prop plane from Ireland to
yeah,
England.
probably crash and die. That's yeah, I take a prop plane from Dublin into Birmingham, so that'll be interesting. Hopefully we survive that and get to cast some video games later, but we'll see.
And when are you leaving, Benny? What kind of time are the rest of your team and yourself jetting off?
I'm traveling Wednesday morning and then arriving Thursday morning. We're all going to be landing in London together and taking the train down, so we'll be coming in a pack to intimidate you guys.
You'll be arriving as a group of 6, storming through the doors. Well, better than Zebbosai, whose team is going to be arriving in dribs and drabs from Thursday onwards, or possibly never if my old classic car breaks down and never manages to deliver his Wonder Scout of Stark. But that you just got to deal with that. Maybe you guys will end up finishing below dogs after all.
Wait. Is this the same car from last year?
Yeah, the same car
Holy
that
shit.
the brakes
Is-
broke, and then the year before
is
that the engine
anyone-
exploded.
Is anyone willing to get into that car?
Stark begged me. Stark begged me to take him, and so I am. Yeah,
So Stark doesn't really want to play with Nerdwich, is that confirmed here?
that's essentially what we're saying. Yeah.
It was the same last year with Stark, though. They still managed to get there. I'm more worried about Flippy, because he's arriving at 3 on Friday in Birmingham, and group stage starts at 4. But
He'll
I'm
have to
sure
arrive via magic carpet or something. He can walk. You guys don't need Flippy anyway, do you? You already have 2 scouts in your team. You just pick up some other random Roman soldier, and you guys will be perfectly fine.
yeah,
We
well,
can
it
lend
takes
you
snipe,
Alpha.
and it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't think we went to Kratos for an opinion on how he breaks down these teams. He's got a bit of an outside perspective. He's sat at the no offense, sat at the bottom there, underneath all the rest of the teams. We're looking up at them, seeing how they stack up in rows and rows above him. How do you see it breaking down? Who are you gonna call out?
Well, the same as in the season. We're gonna come in as the underdogs and then just try and surprise the people. It's the actual plan.
That's not even slightly what I asked. I asked how they're gonna stack up against each of the Kratos. Who's gonna come out on top? Who's gonna dribble at LAN?
Give us a ranking.
Well, I kind of like on the paper. I would say TLR would do worse than they did in the season, so they won't get into the finals. But I don't know. They are like experienced gamers who all went to LAN, so it might be different. But I guess TLR will be not that great, to be honest. But other than that, I guess it will be a European final. I guess Reason and Nerdwage will take it.
You don't see the Americans even making it into the grand final. Not the defending champions for your tech.
Well, to be honest, I didn't get to play against them, but like just by the show matches and these things, and judged by how good the Europeans are currently, in my opinion, I guess they will take it.
Yep.
The kid is just piping in with a little yes.
Oh, sorry,
there.
I was talking about I thought I got red. She's asking if she can cross. I have to enable and disable the camera, you see.
What Benny, for you guys, you didn't play in one of the show matches, as far as I can remember. I don't think you did. I think it was Ascent that took both of them.
We haven't had a chance, and apparently we won't. This weekend was like our last chance, I think.
Ah, right,
so
yeah.
It's passed us by.
What did you think about the show matches as a show match in and of themselves, just as a literal spectator event? They're obviously fantastic. You get to see the two teams face off against each other. But as any kind of prediction tool or working out how the two teams are going to come up against each other, or even just as who's better than who, do you think they have any weighting? What can you take from them?
I would say they have no weight. They're pretty much just to generate some interest and get people aware of the event, and then to kind of drum up the patriotism or whatever.
The old European seagull patriotism.
Mm-hmm.
Who had that blow up seagull before I-52, by the way? Whose was the fantastic inflatable seagull? I love that thing. Anyway, yeah, so the show matches, they were, in your eyes, just purely a spectator event. You're not going to take anything away from them.
No, absolutely not. And especially given the nature of North America versus Europe, the ping and everything changes everything. So you can't really know for sure if someone would have hit that shot that they had to if they just had slightly lower ping, So that's what LAN's for. Thank God we have it.
Yeah, absolutely. That it makes all the intercontinental fights so much more interesting when you can have them all on equal level pegging. But I have a feeling that Zebbosai might have a different opinion about he always has a different opinion, and might have a different opinion about the show matches. When you were playing in them, and when TLR was playing in them against Ascent, do you think you can predict anything from that? Is that what you're basing your assessment of Ascent on?
No, I think at was it Osomniac? We beat Froyo in the show match, and we lost at LAN, and we played on American ping, obviously. So you can't take too much away from it. But with Broder, we beat whatever Benny's team was called then, and we beat him at LAN too, so you never know.
You're saying a 50% prediction record is enough to base things on?
I have no idea, man. We'll see at LAN.
So, yeah, absolutely. It is all different at LAN. Do you believe that, Gecks? Is it just comes down to who's performing on the day, or do you think you can make predictions and can take things into LAN? Do people overstate that kind of random factor for LAN?
I don't know, man. From the different games that I've been a part of, I've casted LANs for a couple different games and stuff, and I really think it does come down to LAN, because I've seen teams that have rolled online and stuff like that. That they go into LAN and choke or whatever. So I definitely think LAN is the true determiner of everything. Like Danny said, and a couple others, it's the zero ping thing. That can be the difference between hitting the shot or not. And I really do think it does come all down to LAN. I think online only holds so much merit. But at the end of the day, it's definitely a LAN thing.
You never really know how it's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There always is that different factor for LAN. In terms of kaidus, who do you think the people who won't perform as well at LAN might be? If you're willing to throw a few names in the hat.
You want me to call individuals out?
Maybe teams then, if that makes things easier for you. If that makes things easier for your conscience. But yeah, I want you to call players out.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna off the top of my head, there's no one I can particularly call out. I don't think, because I don't really know. But I think TLR will be the most interesting team to see at LAN, because I think they could either be twice as good or twice as bad as they are online. Then we'll see possibly see the biggest difference in performance from TLR. I think Nerd Rage will step it up a bit. I think that we even said earlier, Rib tends to be pretty good at LAN, especially compared to online. He ups his game a lot. But I don't know about individuals. There's a couple of guys on our team who it's their first LAN. I think half our team actually is their first LAN. So, they're going to either fly really high or maybe they'll fall really low. But I don't think you can really read it. I've never really... everyone always has their suspicions going into a LAN about individuals based on their personality and shit like that. but it never really turns out the way you think it does. At least, like, you know, not reliably.
Was it you that made the prediction that Knudsen was going to go huge at I-52?
Yeah. Like, I genuinely believe Knudsen would be like a lot better on LAN than he was online, just because I knew he wouldn't be phased by anything. If we're playing against a team that's maybe getting overwhelmed or starting to feel the pressure, like Knudsen's not going to feel that. And if you have a roamer who just doesn't give a fuck while the other team's really shaky, you can just like destroy them with that. And sadly, our team was just dog shit. So it didn't actually happen.
To be fair to that, Knudsen was better on LAN. He wasn't amazing. Like
but I thought he would be like
a
level above where he was.
Yeah.
But it kind of required something more from us as a team that we never really produced at that tournament. And that's gonna be how it goes as well. Like players on teams, they're influenced by how their team plays. Like that's kind of what I mean with like TLR. If certain players, like if like their big players are stepping up, then maybe it's going to inspire the ones like, I don't know, like AMS and Happy. There could be question marks raised here based on like various things that have happened in the past. I'm not saying anything specific before I get jumped on. Like, but if like I don't know, if like half their team's turning up, then maybe they get inspired, you know, and they go up. They're like quite an emotional team. They can go up or down. And I think it's, you know, could go either way. We won't know until we get there, Sideshow.
We won't know. But it'll be fun to find out. Gecks, what do you think about Ascent as an online versus LAN team?
Well, before I even get to that, the one thing that I wanted to bring this up a while ago that I kind of worry about was, I don't know, the Fragile to me seemed very pessimistic when he was talking before. I don't know, he just, even if he's being maybe realistic, which I think he was being realistic, I still, to me, if I were in his position, I wouldn't be letting other teams know that I don't think I'm going to finish in first, whether it's realistic or not. I don't know. I wouldn't be telling the other teams I think they're going to beat us. I don't know. To me, that was a little bit worrisome. You know, I think you got to go in with a really good mentality and just think that you're going to shit on everybody going into it. But you know, as Mela would say, just shit on them and win. I don't know. I think that's kind of I think you need to go in with that mentality.
That's just Fragile being fragile, though. I think we'll finish higher than that. I mean, you have Enigma on your team. He said he's probably the longest tenured player in North America. You can't count that out. Like, that team's more than capable of finishing the top 3.
I think in the world, actually. I don't think anyone's played longer than Enigma now.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Has he
think
been
so.
the longest playing player?
I mean, maybe you could
still
point
playing?
at Rib, but Rib took such a long break that it seems weird to even count him in that.
Sizer's up there.
Did
Yeah,
Sizer
Sizer-
start at about the same time as Enigma?
Sizer took a season off playing in, well, not a season off, but playing in Open and Intermediate for I think, 2 seasons.
But Enigma
Enigma-
took the last season off, did he not?
Yeah, but Enigma's played Invite every single season up until then. He took
Really?
1 season off compared to Sizer taking 2.
That's just
And-
insane.
I feel like Enigma is definitely the most consistent scout that's ever played this game.
What do you think the Enigma factor is for Ascent? Do you think that'll give them a boost, or is it just a good replacement?
In the end, it's just one player, right? And people more experienced could answer this question, but I feel like it's just one player. But I feel like Enigma gives them the chance to finish top 3 and maybe even win the entire thing.
Well, I also think too, I mean, you're bringing in a guy that's played at multiple I-Series events, and, you know, I'll let the more experienced guys take it after I say this, but I mean, you're bringing in a guy that's very experienced. He's played in multiple international lands in TF2. I think that does go a decent way. I mean, obviously that's not going to be, you know, an absolute I'm trying to think of the words. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be like massive, but I still think you can give direction to the people that haven't played on that kind of stage before and kind of show them the way, so to speak. I could be totally wrong about that, but I feel like it does go at least a certain distance, that kind of experience that Enigma brings to the table.
Yeah, like at this level, like the margins between teams are so small anyway, that like something like that really can make a difference. Like it might not necessarily, but it doesn't take much really to shift the balance.
Can I get to one question? Like the Americans, I guess. Like how is this is gonna sound like I'm shamelessly digging for information, but like how is on a DM level where where would you place Enigma compared to Decimate?
Enigma's better, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what
I
I said too.
think Enigma, I haven't personally seen Enigma play like a bunch of 6s because I kind of came around after him, but from what I have seen. I don't know. I think he's very, very good.
By far,
say-
Enigma is a straight upgrade. I think Fragile and Ascent just prefer Decimate because of the team chemistry, because they've played with Decimate for so long.
Yeah, if I could chime in, I think Enigma, what he really brings, like even if his DM is on par with Decimate, I think Enigma has more like potential for off-classing, and he's more of a leader and a little bit more vocal. I think he just contributes more to the chemistry of the team, or the direction of it. He has like so much experience, and he was like a co-leader of Mix Up, who made it to like every grand finals. So that's what he's gonna bring.
How much do you think that does benefit them then, Benny?
I'd say a lot, especially at an event like this. Though I will admit I don't really know what their team how their team operates at all. Like it does confuse me a lot because I don't really see any of them being like a super strong main caller. I don't know how their like decisions are made and things like that. But if Enigma is going to be like included in those kinds of things, I think it would help them a lot. If he's not, like if he's just kind of like a ringer and he's just like, oh, I'll just play this event, I guess, and just be the scout, then it wouldn't really help them in any way, really, because on his own, I don't think like he could make that much of a difference, to be honest. Because Decimate is a really good player, and Decimate is probably like a better sniper than Enigma was or is, but I don't know.
In terms of what he brings to the team outside his own individual performance, you think it would be an added benefit in terms of leadership and calling and
as
things?
Long as they're utilizing it, I'd say so.
Very interesting. So yeah, it's going to be super interesting to see how these guys match up at LAN. And another thing in terms of the production that we didn't quite mention is that we now have control, whether for better or worse, of our own grand final, Dashner.
Yeah, we have the finals now. I was actually kind of really scared about that at first, but I think it's for the best at this point. The main reason I was worried about doing our own finals is because I didn't think we could match the multiplayer production, but after Gil put out that $1,500,
It's Gil.
paid whatever. A really fucking nice guy from sweetstakes.tf, please visit that site. Paid for all those camera rentals and all that equipment. We just bought a $1,000 capture card for our production PC that can support those cameras. I think we are gonna match and maybe even do better than the multiplayer production. We can't give you guys the big stage that you guys have seen at I-46, I-49, and I-52 that you're normally accustomed to for the grand finals, but we're gonna try our best to match it, and I'm actually really confident that the grand finals, in terms of a viewer experience, is gonna be incredible.
In terms of the people here that watch the grand finals as well, so Bunny maybe doesn't quite have the same perspective on it, since he was like on the stage playing from it. You know, that's kind of a different perspective on it. But in terms of a viewer experience, do you think it'll be better having our timing, our production on the grand finals compared to the lack of a huge stage?
So much better.
Slightly, because we're still limited because some players are flying out Sunday evening because they assume that it was going to be the grand finals was going to be a multiplayer run and it was going to be at 10 a.m. So I think the grand finals is scheduled at 2 p.m. So it's still kind of it's a bit of a later start. It's a bit better for people in North America, but it's still kind of early.
Yeah, it does make it a lot better for North American viewership and European viewership as well. Because then, what time is it for America at that time? It was essentially late at night rather than
2 in the morning.
Was it 2 in the morning?
I think so.
Was it not at 10 a.m.? Would it not
Coast.
be like, oh, is it West Coast 2 a.m. and like 5
on
5
the
a.m. on
East
the
Coast, it was about 5 a.m. This is a bit better. 2 p.m. start is, let me do the math here. About 9 a.m. on the East Coast. It's still kind of early on the West. But
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way we can start later than that because just players
People are
leaving
jetting off.
Sunday evening. Yeah.
And what do you think, Kaidus, about the production from a spectator watching the stream and also from a spectator actually being there?
Like, as a live spectator from I-52 of the grand final, it was dog shit, man. There is no like cuts to production that I wouldn't make to avoid a 10 a.m. final again this time. Like, the result like probably would be the same anyway. Like, I'm not trying to make an excuse for the European team that played, but just just as like an event, it was just so like underwhelming. Like normally you expect at least the crowd to like have a good time. Maybe the players who lose have a shit time, but the crowd, win or lose, like if their favorite team wins or loses, they normally have a great time and come away like really happy. But it was just so depressing. Like you drag your ass in at like 10 a.m. Everyone's fucking knackered. No one can be bothered. Like no one really even wants to be there because it's so early and like Saturday's like a late night. I don't think there's anything I wouldn't do to have avoided that again.
Do you not think though that if Epsilon had put up a great game against Freude Tech, it would have still been a fantastic finals from a live spectator point of view?
Like, if it had gone like to a third map, maybe by that time it would have like heated up a bit. I don't think it ever could have matched like I-49, I-46 though, or even like going further back like I-40 and I-43, more mainly I-40 though. Like when it was just like Epsilon Dignitas in the final. Like even those finals were incredible. I don't think like it really ever had stood the chance.
The I-40 final, I think, is going to be the most similar final to what we've actually got this year, Dashner. Would you say that's about right?
In terms of the setup?
Yeah, in terms of the setup and the atmosphere.
Simply because we don't have as much space to work with, it's going to be very similar to I-40. It's going to be two teams facing one another with the crowd around them. It's the only way we can pull it off. And there's going to be no STV delay. Everything's going to be live.
Yeah, and for the people watching this, I absolutely beg you, go and watch Bones' I-40 frag video, because it shows the I-40 setup for the grand final, and it's also a really sick frag video. So get yourselves hyped for I-55. Go and watch all of the I-series LAN movies, because Bones' trilogy is just fantastic, and all of the frag movies, but specifically the I-41, and just have a look at the grand final. Look how close everybody is, and how much hype the event is going to be. I personally think it's going to be fantastic. The grand final setup.
If they let us do this, we have not confirmed any of this with multiplayer yet.
We're going to get attacked by the health and safety fire regulations people.
Now, to the players, anybody can answer this, but would you guys rather, like, would you prefer to be in that low ground setup with the crowd around you, or is it better to be up on a stage, do you think? I don't know if there's a preference there.
I've only played on stage, so I don't know about the other way around. But the stage was obviously amazing, so yeah.
You can't, but the thing is, you can't be on the stage this time. Like it's between playing in your seats or playing in an area around our casting booth.
Then that's
two options.
for sure better.
I'm thinking what's like, because the teams are pretty evenly like spread out in the hall. Like, where is actually the casting booth, and it's like a security risk of being able to see stuff.
I mean, we're going to take precautions against that.
Okay.
Making sure you can't see anything on the TVs or anything like that, of course.
I'm just going to get tactical pauses in and spot their spies.
Yeah.
You'll be able to hear the casters, obviously, but that's standard.
That's the same every time, isn't it?
We're going to have the people around us and stuff like that. It's always the LAN noise, really.
TL are expecting to make it to the grand final here. He's putting himself in that position. I'm just talking about
normal games too, Sideshow. I don't know if you heard this, but they're also going to be casted.
Yeah, of course.
Going back to like the old style of final, which would be similar to this one. I never played in like a Samurai series final, but I played at the final of I-42. So it wasn't like the biggest event, but the final setup was kind of similar. And even with like a minimal crowd, you could still like, you really couldn't hear the casters. Like, if you took your headset off and fucking listened, or if you turned your headset down and really like tried to listen, you could. But like even then, you'd be catching the odd word. Like, you had to really, really try, to the point where it's much more of a detriment to your own game. At least that was like I-42, which was the same as I-40. Obviously, it's not exactly the same setup, but I mean, as long as the crowd is making a bit of noise, I don't really think that's going to matter anyway.
Yeah, what did you think of I-49's Zebbosai? Do you agree? Obviously, the crowd was going wild at I-49.
Yeah, at I-49, we couldn't hear the casters at all. Like, we couldn't even hear ourselves talk. I remember, like, we had to type certain pushes in team chat, you know. It's so loud.
Fantastic. Just the crowd was absolutely going mental on that occasion. I was really... I-52 could have been a fantastic final, but we'll not dwell on that at all. I'm still bitter that Bunny didn't give them a map just out of pity. Give them the second map.
I would never do that. No mercy. That's rule number one.
Absolutely.
And I expect the same in return.
For for I-55 though, the stage has disappeared, but it's going to be a lot more of an intimate affair. It's going to be hot and sweaty inside the TF2 tent. It's going to be vicious. I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah, I'm
Lots of sweaty
calling it.
gamers.
I'm pretty sure that it's going to be the best event for I-Series ever for TF2.
Do you agree with me? This is just throwing it out to anybody for their opinion. I think this is the most, and I'm not just trying to hype up the event. I genuinely believe this. This is the most competitive I-Series we've ever had.
I'm
Because
there, so it can't be.
because the teams are a bit worse, yeah.
The teams are a bit worse. I think all the teams are closer, and also the skill level is fantastic. I think we've got the best of both worlds here, and it's going to be. I'm going to be really surprised if there's a standout team. I'm going to be really surprised, but I'm also. It's going to be exciting, like to see them as well. But I think it's going to be incredibly close.
I would have to agree with you there, man. I mean, I wasn't really around for the other I-Series. I got into this game like right as I-52 started happening, so I kind of showed up a little bit late to the party. But just from what I've seen of all the teams, I think it's going to be a very competitive event. I'm ready to cast it. I think it's going to be awesome, man.
It's like on par with Y49, or potentially on par with Y49.
Even I-52 was pretty close. Like, only the grand final was like total shit, to be honest. But like, there were some other games, like Immunity against Mix-Up, I guess it was, like the night before, and that game was incredible. And it was also not on the stage, but it was so much fun to watch it, like in a little crowd with some other TF2 guys.
Yeah.
It was like so much fun as well.
Was it the upper final between?
Yeah,
was the upper final
final
between Epsilon and Froyotech? Is that right? Was that the upper final? Because even that was
no,
a
I
real...
guess it was Immunity against Mix-Up, like where Harbor had this special moment.
No,
No,
you're
that's
thinking of
against
the lower
Epsilon.
final. I
I
think.
actually just watched it.
Yeah,
yesterday.
never mind.
Yeah. But that was a really good game. Like, I really enjoyed watching that, and I thought that was fantastic. But then it just all went wrong for the grand final. I think it's kind of left a bit of a bad impression on the whole event, because I think those games that were played in the knockouts and the group stages of I-52 were the best games of TF2 that have been played and casted.
I just want
That's
to
not
say,
good.
I just want to say that being in the crowd for the semi-final between Classic Mix-Up and Epsilon, and just go when it went to Golden Cap, like Cap has his Land Love video up that you can go to and see it. But like, being in that crowd was one of the best experiences of my life. It was just magic, really. Even if you weren't a player, just being there watching it.
Yeah, it was such a great event, and we're gonna replicate it and more at I-55. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm
Just up
so
with
hyped.
the teams at this point.
Yeah, you guys have to put on a good show. Yeah, what's the old Zebbosai will do the best impression, or maybe Happy as well. What's the old
Can't
Darn
you do
quote?
a darn impression?
Can't do a Darn
Put
impression.
on a good show.
Just
That's
want
not
to
even
put
good
on a
either.
good show.
You have to be slightly drunk to be able to do a darn impression, I think.
Yeah, Darn lived that perpetual halfway drunk TF2 career. Yeah, but it's going to be a fantastic event. Of course, we've got other teams going as well. We've got that big open section for everybody else to sign up for. If you are playing at I-55 and you are one of the teams not in the invite groups, make sure you've done everything that you need to. Make sure you've bought all your tickets. Make sure you've linked them to Multiplay and the Eventbrite. Make sure you've found your seat. Make sure you've arranged everything. Make sure you are there to play and spectate, because it is going to be a fantastic event, and I think it's going to be brilliant. In fact, if you're in an invite team, make sure you've done that as well, please. I think. Oh, and you also need to sign up to ClanForge as well. I think
Froyo
Froyo
has to do that.
Yeah, I think Froyo still have to do that out of
We
the
have a
top
couple
invite
loose
teams.
ends to tie up. Yes.
I don't care. Sign up.
Yeah, and so we need everything sorted to make this this event great. But I think it's just going to be fantastic. And I think unless anyone else has got any other burning topics to discuss, we'll wrap things up there with a countdown of where Gecks expects the teams to place.
Oh God, putting it on me. Well,
Yes. Gecks. Just think of it from like the long history of TF2. Just take that all in here. I think.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. I'll throw them out there. I'm gonna go Reason, Froyotech. After that, oh boy, I think I'm gonna have to go with Nerd Rage, Ascent, TLR. How many have I named so far? 5 dogs. Last.
Yeah, you've
Sorry.
just got.
Sorry, Kratos. I'm sorry.
Kratos. Someone put up a poll thing. It wasn't a straw poll. It was something different. Of like you had to rank the different teams and put them in, and Dogs.tf was the one with the biggest standard deviation because loads of people put them as number 1 and loads of people put them as number 6. So you guys have got a really weird rating on there. But yeah, that's it. I just love the way for this LAN that everybody's predictions are completely different. It's going to be so brilliant to look back on them and just see who was miles off and who was spot on, because you just can't tell at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
Has anyone got any final words for anybody before we sign off here?
Can I just ask Sideshow what your prediction is, so people will know like what to bet against?
Yeah, absolutely. So
will there be Saloon.tf for I-55?
Yes. Oh, yeah. We should talk about that actually, because there will be Saloon TF integration for I-55. There'll also be Gentleman John's doing a whole fantasy TF2 kind of system around I-55, and I believe you can pick like intercontinental teams to run through the entire event. So that's the first time ever you can pick like have half of your team European and half of your team American and make your way through the event and create like a super team, which is then accruing points from everywhere, and you could win the event with half of Froyotech and half of Dogs.tf. You know, you could create your very own super team. So check that out. Have a look on Saloon as well. Bet responsibly. Bet opposite to me essentially is are the guidelines at the moment. Yeah, but if I had to give a prediction, I think I don't know where to put Nerd Rage. That's the thing. Like, if I leave out Nerd Rage, then I think it's gonna go like Reason, Froyo, Ascent, TLR, Dogs. But I don't know where the hell to put Nerd Rage. I think they can go anywhere from 1st to 3rd. I'm gonna put them in second, because I think their sniper's gonna go wild. I think their sniper's gonna just shit on everyone. I think Flippy's gonna have the best LAN ever and just annihilate everybody. But then, yeah. So there's my prediction, but it's gonna be completely wrong. So you can see what the list that I've drawn up and bet exactly against it if you want to win mad skins on Saloon. Did you have a shout out as well, Dashner?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a thank you to everybody who's donated to the production fundraiser, and thank you to Jill for the $1,500 sponsorship for the production, and for Beta for backing us, because we weren't able to rent equipment without somebody at the UK like vouching for us and putting down a gigantic deposit for rentals. And those 3 things combined are probably going to make this the best show that competitive TF2 has ever seen in terms of a stream, and I'm so grateful for them, and I cannot wait to get to England and put on the stream this weekend. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. We'll be covering it here at Team Fortress TV. But for now, get hyped, read the articles, have a look at the TFTV Twitter and the things that we're posting over the next few days. Have a look at the vlogs as well, i55.tf. Look at the vlogs. I think Gentleman John's collating a big thing of all the people posting. Shade's going to be posting some of them. I think Koss has a Snapchat as well. There's some other people. There's a TFTV thread about it. Go find that content. It's out there on Team Fortress TV, and get hyped, because the biggest event of the TF2 year is almost upon us, and it is going to be fantastic. We'll see you guys soon when we're there at the event casting it. I can't wait to meet Gecks. He's got such a lovely face, the little chubby cheeks. I wanna just.
Apparently, I look like
him.
MGE Mike too. I don't. That's what everybody tells me. Anytime I go in.
Look, I mean, we can pair you guys together. That can be the first AO Girl vlog, just you and him together, and you have to tell which is Mike and which is Gecks. But yeah, we'll see you guys later. We've been Team Fortress TV with episode 29 of Fully Charged, the one before I-55. Tune in next time TFTV goes live, and it will probably be the World Championships. We'll see you shortly.